Hey, Isaac, let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so I was reading over here, you say, in case there's any confusion, clean tooth represents results, and a toothbrush represents components. All right, so we go over to the ad now. What exactly is this about? Is this ad about? What is the object that you're featuring? Is it brushing your teeth? Is it Colgate toothpaste, or is it the toothbrush? Do you see what I'm saying? So if we take a look at the assignment requirements, specifically right over here, you must select a designed object or artifact from your everyday life. So um, brushing your teeth is not, that's an activity. It's not a designed object. Okay, so this is kind of falling apart in that regard. So you're missing a lot of components here simply because the subject matter is not specifically clear here, and it's not specifically clear because you're pointing to several different things. Imagery is saying something different than the type, and therefore it's immediately very confusing to the viewer. So at first, I would say, at first glance, it seems like, again, we don't know what the dominant image is, right? So we don't know what the subject matter is. Then we start reading and we see brushing my teeth is something I do every day. So we think, is brushing the teeth the activity, what you're featuring? But brushing your teeth is an activity, it's not a designed object. Okay, so you could theoretically say, okay, my toothbrush, I want to make this about my toothbrush. Okay, so that said, I think you're going to have to make some changes there and make some adjustments therein. Now, I'm going to give you a critique based on what we have here, but I do want you to understand that you have to select a designed object to feature in this. Okay, so let's talk about what we have here. Let's first talk about the requirements, and the requirements come from these areas right here. Welcome to week 4, part 1 page, the first paragraph, the instructions, the objectives, and the design requirements. Now, looking at our requirements, we say the object must be dominant, but there is no dominant object in here, right? There's nothing that's either bigger or, I mean, basically this right now is the dominant object, and the only reason is because it's red. But again, conflicting information because you're not talking about toothpaste, so that shouldn't be the dominant object. You see what I'm saying? You can see how it's kind of starting to fall apart based on the fact that there's not a selected designed object, but rather you're trying to feature an activity, brushing your teeth. Okay, object must be shown with somebody using it. Okay, there's somebody using now. Again, I'm going to go and just assume that toothbrush is the object. So there's somebody using the toothbrush. Must show an image of the result of using the object. I think that is an illustration. It's not an image. And this assignment requires images, not illustrations. So I think the result would be somebody with a big, nice smile on their face. Um, must show two components. So, what are components of a toothbrush? I mean, you say components of brushing your teeth are toothbrush and toothpaste, but that's not the subject, or it should be, anyways. So, if the toothbrush is your subject, then what are the components? It could be only one, maybe the padded handle, maybe the bristles, but there's not much more. So, you have to make sure you're showing two components of the designed object that you're featuring. Um, must include the headline design in everyday life, must include a paragraph of body copy, and must include captions. We don't have any captions at all. Okay, then we have a white background only. So we don't have that here. You need to have a white background only. 7 by 15, that looks like you're at 7 by 15. Imagery must come in contact with the edge of the page somewhere at least twice. Only have once there. Okay, your design must combine images that are in boxes as part of the background and cropped individually. Well, there's nothing in boxes, so you have to kind of figure out. And when I say boxes, it could be circles or pentagon shaped, whatever a container it should be instead of boxes. Okay. Uh, okay. So as far as typography and layout, there's a few issues here that we have. Now, the type itself, this looks pretty good. I think you're set pretty good. I think design in everyday life is set pretty good, but we're out of alignment. Let me take my straight edge, and you can see that the little bit out of alignment. That D is not in the same margin as the left margin over there, so you want to get that in alignment. Right now, this area right here is greater. It's showing more hierarchy. Right now, it's actually competing with the headline. So I think this is too large. It's definitely taking precedence over the body copy in hierarchy. So I don't know if you want that, if that was intended, but just food for thought there. Remember, no images, no illustrations, all images. This image has been skewed or somewhat distorted. And we can clearly see that by the shape of this. That should be a circle, right? And we can see that this has been distorted. Typically, if you place something in this document, you want to resize it once it's in the document. Of course, you select the image and then just drag the corner bounding box, right? Now hold your shift key down when you drag that corner bounding box, and that's going to constrain the aspect ratio, the proportions of the original image. That's going to prevent any kind of these kind of distortions. We can see the same distortions over here as we see this little flat bristles of the brush and it's like really long. That's certainly almost surely been distorted, as the bristles on a toothbrush are much higher than those little puny things that are seen here. Okay, so definitely want to pay attention to your images. Okay, so other than that, I think the main thing here is a little bit of a misinterpretation of the intent, being that you need to select a designed object and not an activity, and then also a lot of missing requirements. So at this point, I would really sit down, hunker down, and really get your head wrapped around the requirements of the assignment, and go ahead and start recomposing. Now, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. If you go to the announcements area, which I highly recommend, there's 4 announcements right here, starting with welcome to week 4 and working your way up. These 4 announcements are of critical importance. As a matter of fact, these are going to a very high degree, they're going to determine your success for the rest of the courses. I show you many tutorials on typographic techniques for which you should be applying from this moment on in all of your typographic work. A lot of it has to do with that list of 17 tips, type rules from week 4. And other things that we have learned. I don't introduce anything new, but everything here is within the course materials, okay? And then, of course, this announcement right here, how to complete assignment 4, I go in and I actually deconstruct a very successful ad, which is a very successful poster. This one right here, and this is located in the Welcome to Week 4 announcements. You can see some really good examples at the bottom of that page. But I completely deconstruct this and describe why it's such a good poster. So be sure to review those resources, okay? So a little bit of work to do here before moving forward. And but at this point, please let me know if you have any questions at all, or if I can provide any further clarifications. I'll be glad to do so. Okay, thank you very much.